my good buddy Glenn sent me this really cool video on. It had Jason Hartman, one of the all-time greats. Who else did it have on there? Jason Hartman. Oh, Tom Wheelwright, one of the all-time greats, and it had Robert Kiyosaki, one of the all-time greats. So that's the rich dad poor dad guy and his accountant Tom Wheelwright. These guys are the best. Go watch more movies. Watch every video that you can. If I was going to say watch the one guy, Jason Hartman, man, the guy's a legend. He taught me a lot of stuff. You know what he taught me the most? He taught me about many years ago watching for the value of the land versus the value of the home. When we're in Toronto, remember the value of the land is 50, 60, 70% of the value of the whole property that you're going to buy with the house on it. Whereas if you buy in linear markets like C-class cities, sometimes B, if you buy them there, the land will be free. One of the homes that I bought for $100,000, but the replacement cost is $200,000. So I'm getting the house at a 50% discount and the land is for free. So if you can buy a property where the land is for free, how can you not win? That's what to do. So buy stuff that is always a good deal, right? Right now, you guys, I have to tell you, I was looking online. Silver right now is ridiculously cheap, crazy cheap. I think everybody should be buying some of this stuff, but you don't have to buy a brick. What I say that you always start off with is one of these, just one coin. One coin, that's it. Start with that. And you're going to do very, very well. This is a Indian coin. You can buy these things for $30, something like that. Jump on something like that, and you're going to be doing very, very well. All right, you guys. Do you want to learn about money mechanics, or do you want to learn about building a property, or do you want to learn about holding companies? You could tell me what you're thinking, and then we'll attempt to get some people interested. Maybe you guys can ask me some good questions tonight. We'll pull it up on the screen, and then I'll let you guys know. Well, you guys could tell me what you like. So let's move some of these cameras over. And then you guys could tell me what you want to learn tonight. I always keep this picture of ice up there. I love that ice picture. You know why? The main reason is because that is what our dollars do. Our dollars are constantly melting. That's how it works. So just let me make sure this is up. Can you see that? Yeah. Good. All right. So let's try and run through something for you guys. This is what you're going to be looking for when you're going to be buying your first property. When you're going to be going into your first property, I'm going to flip the screen for you guys over here. No. Here. All right. So what is the first thing that we always look for? We always are looking for cash flow. That's what you're going to read from Robert Kiyosaki's books, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy. This is all that we're looking for is cash flow generally. It's hard to write on this board here, guys. Sorry about my writing. So this is what we're generally looking for is cash flow. But is cash flow really what investors are going to be looking for? Generally, no. Actually, in reality, cash flow is the last thing that you want. But you might want cash flow. Yes. We also make money from where else? Appreciation. So where is that? That's the money that is going up. Depreciation is the most important thing. This is the most, I'm going to underline it because it's the most important thing that you have to understand how to use this to make a crap ton of money. Depreciation is so funny. Cash flow, appreciation, depreciation. Then we have principal pay down. That is another stream of income that we make. If you like this, we have a YouTube video that is up on this stuff. The YouTube video is on getting 20 streams of income on one property. So you can go look that up. We just posted that last week. Cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, principal pay down, and what is the last one? Our loans. That's what I always call it. But in reality, that's amortization. Okay, so we make money on real estate in 5 different ways. So let us take this as an example in these 5 different ways. And how much money would this actually turn into if we were going to figure out how much cash we could make off of that? Again, on TikTok and on YouTube, if you have any questions about this, please put it on. I'm watching both screens. If you have any questions, I'll answer them for you as we go. Cash flow, how much money are you going to have? Now, cash flow, if we're going to go down here, I'm going to write in what cash flow generally, this is a newbie. A new guy will say, well, my mortgage is $1,000 per month, but my cash flow, my rent that I get every month is $1,200. So he goes, well, David, I have $200 extra every month. Well, don't be such a new guy, man, because that is not where you make your money. And $200 is a good goal, but we're not going to hit that very often. Appreciation is number 2, right? Now, how much is appreciation is normally when the property goes up in value. So what happens if we have a home that is worth 100K and then it goes up to 200K? So that means you've doubled your money, but that's through appreciation. Of course, we can't get a home price that low right anymore, but that's just gives you the idea. Depreciation is the important one. Depreciation is the most important thing that you can learn. Do you know what the rate is in Canada? Does anyone have a guess? Give me a guess of how much you think depreciation is. Depreciation in Canada. Now, there is a lot. Man, live, that didn't work out very well. There's a lot for depreciation in Canada. It's generally 4%, but there's a lot of different categories. So talk to your accountant for that. In Canada, how does that work for 4%? Just let's say that you had a $100,000 home. That means 4% of it would be $4,000. And you can write that off of against $4,000 of profit. So say that you had that house and you rented it all year and you were making $200 a month off of that. At the end of the year, what does that come to? $200 per month equals $2,400. So do you pay taxes on that $2,400? No, because I have a $4,000 write-off. So what happens if I had 2 houses that were both making me $200? That means I would have made $4,800 in total, but I have a $4,000 write-off from up here for depreciation. So I would only have to pay taxes on $800. Obviously, there's a lot of other expenses that are in there, but you get the idea. You get to write off that huge chunk of money. Then we're going to get down into the principal pay down. In the principal pay down, if we do that, we call that PP, principal pay down. If you get into that, remember that we were saying, well, what happens if you had $1,000 mortgage? Now, interest rates have gone way up, right? Way up. But out of that $1,000 mortgage, you're probably going to be paying, I don't know, $600 toward your mortgage. And the other $400 is interest. Right? So that's $600. Don't forget that comes back to you, right? You are having somebody else pay your mortgage for you. So that $600 is really important for you. So that's for the principal pay down. And the last thing is through your loans, right? And so if we get into our loans, that's the amortization, meaning you do not have to pay up front. You don't. Remember, on homes, we can always renegotiate. So that's what I want you to remember when we're going to be talking about renegotiating a deal. We're not always renegotiating the deal at the beginning, right? We're buying it, but every year you can refinance it if you want. You can actually get out another loan. You could stretch it out after you paid down 3-4 years. You can do a cash out refi on the property. You might be able to do some type of creative seller financing. We can keep changing the deal to more favorable terms over time. It's not one and done. Remember, when you go buy a house, a car mortgage or something, That is the price. Tough luck. Deal with it. So those are the 5 main streams that you get when you first buy a property: cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, principal pay down, and loans. So we get these 5 streams. Each stream is different, and you have to remember how to do this as a commercial landlord, because you want to get into commercial one day, but that's probably way down the road. That could be 10 years down the road. So that's those 5 streams. And then, my added ones are always the value adds. So what can you add on the property to make it worth more money? And so we did a whole YouTube video on this. You can go look it up. And we went through it on the board, but think about the things that you can do to add cash to your property in value adds. It could be putting an antenna on the roof, a crypto miner in there, more efficient heaters. You can do covered parking. You could do a mini putt course in the back of a small co-op that you have. You can get antennas put on the roof for telephone companies. We can put solar powers up there. We can put billboards on the side of the buildings. We can find tons of different ways to make more money. You could rent out your backyard for a tiny house. There's always people looking for tiny houses to put in the back. You just hook them up to your water and power. So you can put an Airbnb in your backyard if you want, like an Airstream. So there's tons of ways that you can do value adds, and all of that will be bringing in cash to your building. I think that's a great idea for people to do it. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Anyway, well, we hope that you like that stuff. So when we go through it, remember, this is all the stuff that you need to know. Cash flow, appreciation, depreciation. Please spend your time to learn about depreciation. This is one of the most important things. If I was telling you that the depreciation is 4% of 100 grand, for example, is $4,000. But if it was $1 million, now 4% of $1 million is 40,000. You make a lot more money on that one, right? Now, this is how the Canadian system works, but the American system is very different. The American system is 27.5 years. This is USA. Home of the brave, 27.5 years is how long the US would divide it for. So if you had $100,000 house, you divide it by 27.5 years, and that's how much you get as your tax credit every year that you can write off against your profits. And that's how the depreciation works. So please understand how depreciation works. So how do the big investors operate? The big investors are always operating off of depreciation and appreciation. They don't really care about cash flow. So if you want to be an investor in real estate in your life, stop thinking about cash flow. I mean, it is important for sure. The bigger, the better. But this isn't where you're going to make all your money. This is where you're going to make your money. And big landlords, they know that. So when you see people are doing that, that's where you have to figure that out. Adi Koopa, hey, how are you, buddy? Can I do a real example of depreciation? Okay, so if you go on to the CRA and go on their site, you'll see that there is many different levels of depreciation. So I'm going to write this: depreciation. If you go on CRA, there's going to be 4% ones, 3% ones. There'll be 5%ers, 10%ers, all these different categories. So make sure that you go and you're going to be choosing the right one. But let's use 4% just as an example. Adi, I'm going to need you, if you have a calculator nearby, anybody has a calculator, you can help me out. Let's take a real property in Toronto, for example, for $1 million. Say that you have a duplex or something like that. If you have $1 million property, and just let's say that you were at a 4% category, that means that you get $40,000 as a depreciation per year. So let's say that if you were very happy, how much cash flow would this thing throw off per year? If you had $1 million property and you bought it in cash, let's just say that you bought it in cash, and how much money did this throw off in the whole year? You got to give me a number. So let's say that it gave you $50,000 of rent in a year. Okay. It gave you $50,000 of rent, but you had $10,000 of expenses. Maybe you had to pay for some power and some repairs. If you had $1 million property that you owned cash, it made $50,000 in rent over the course of the entire year. $10,000 of expenses mean I made $40,000 in profit. Can we agree with there? 40,000 in profit. If we owned it cash, we had no mortgage, right? Say that you had made 40,000 profit. You're like, oh wait, I got to pay a lot of taxes on that. Hang on a second. I have a $40,000 depreciation, and it goes, so you pay zero. It cancels each other out. So that's the thing. This is how Donald Trump or how Warren Buffett or anybody else who owns any land or any real estate company, this is how they pay no taxes. This is how the government incentivizes you to buy properties. So that's what I think everybody should be doing. So this is a very good example, I think. $1 million, very easy to hit, right? That's very, very common, usually much higher. 4% is very common. Make $40,000 of depreciation available to you, right? $50,000 in rent, 10,000 expenses would give me 40,000 in profit. But because these two are the same, kiff, nothing, no dollars. You don't pay any taxes. But, you know, the strategies are different, right? If we are in Canada, good old Canada, where I am, if you're in Canada, this is a buy and hold country. We buy and hold properties in perpetuity, not just for our lifetimes, but we pass this down through generations. It never comes out. If you're in the US, they have something called a 1031 exchange. And you 1031 these properties so that you don't pay any taxes as you buy and sell properties because you promised to put it back into real estate. Addie, for depreciation is good for everything. Addie, you're asking for, does 4% depreciation work if you have a property inside of a holding company? Yes, it works on any single property anywhere, whether it's held in a corporation or a holding company or in your own personal name. Depreciation is available to you if that property is a rental of some kind trying to produce income from it. It's an amazing benefit that all the richest real estate guys all will use. Now, if you're in the US, it's even better. 1031 exchange, and the US also has so many benefits that Canada doesn't. They have 30-year fixed mortgages, and they also have bonus depreciation. So the bonus depreciation is things like carpet, lights, things that go way quicker than 27 years. The roof doesn't even last 27 years. So if you get a cost segregation study in the States, you get that bonus depreciation. And you get 30-year fixed mortgages, fixed rate. Unbelievable. Canada, we can get 10 max. And you get a 1031 exchange in the US. But in Canada, we buy and hold properties forever. You buy smart and you pass it down to your kids and grandkids. That's what to do. So in Canada, it's a completely different strategy. Dad to 2 kids. How are you, buddy? Thanks very much. Depreciation can be clawed back upon sale of the home. Yeah, that's called a recapture. So depreciation is taken back at the end of 40 years. If you've depreciated it properly for 40 years, you'd have gotten all your credits out of it, like squeezed all the juice out of that orange. And so that's why we don't sell properties. You buy them and hold them forever. We don't ever give them up. Why would you? If it's throwing off cash to you forever, why would you ever sell it? So we take that money, all the money for 40 years, we take all the credits that we can, and you buy and hold forever. You're not thinking long enough if you're just thinking about your lifetime. We're thinking about passing it on to kids and grandkids. It's going into a trust that owns the holding companies and will own it forever. So properties, once they go in, they don't come out. It's like a dark hole, black hole. But in the US, completely different strategy. US is a lot better. In the US, I don't see how is it possible that you could ever not become a millionaire in the US. So where did we have this? Is in the United States, it's 27 and a half years. In Canada, it's 40. Jeez Louise. The US is so much better. Now, they're not better on everything, right? They're only better on a couple things, but they're better for real estate. Way better for real estate. I do plan on buying some property down in the US in the southern states. We're going to be doing that probably, I don't think next year, but maybe 2024. We probably will be buying some property down there. We look forward to it. All right, you guys. Well, not very many questions. Quiet. It's Friday night. I don't expect a lot of people to be out, but I'm trying to come on every single day to help you guys out, show you how to make a lot more money in real estate. Since there's not too many of you, you don't have a lot of questions. I'm going to get going, try and rest up on my Friday night, big weekend. So if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, principal, pay down, loans, and cash flow, once we go through this list, also, look on my YouTube channel if you want. We did a whole new video on this on 20 streams through one property. Really, really good. So hopefully that will help you guys out. This is your last call. Do you have any questions when it comes to anything on the revenue streams that you can get through a property? Anything. Remember that most people's mistake in life is that you are using the dollars that you earn for life, which is to me one of your biggest mistakes. What you got to be doing when you're going to be buying anything is you got to be using the dollars that you slaved for. So when you go to work and you exchange your life for money, your hours, 8 hours of work for cash, when you make that cash, why go spend it right away on milk? I take that money that I make right away and I go and invest it, and I borrow from my investments to live so that my investments are always growing. If you just make money and spend it, it's gone forever. It's not there anymore. But if I can take that money and instantly put it into an asset, all my money goes into the asset and I live off of what it's kicking off, then I'm okay. Add one more step. And where people mostly get this wrong is you got to keep on adding steps to it. What happens if you took all the money out of that you make when you exchange your life for hours and then you put it into a property, and the property throws off cash that buys into a life insurance product, and the life insurance product throws off cash for you to go and then do something else with it, buy a car with it that you're renting out on Turo, and then you live off of the Turo money. Every step that you add in the chain keeps on adding leverage and reducing risk at the same time. Genius. So that's what we talk about, using smart money mechanics and using other things to pay for the things that you use and the things you want. So we don't go and buy a car ever. We would buy a house and use the rent money to pay for the car. We would never buy a life insurance product without going and buying a house that can pay for the life insurance product forever. So we buy things once and let it pay for it forever. Make sense? I got you. All right, you guys. Not very many questions from you guys. It's all good. Adi Koopa, you got to call me sometime if you're going to be buying another house in Toronto. Let me know, guys, if there's anything else I can help you with. I'm always here. You can send me a direct message. If you're not following me on YouTube, please follow me on YouTube. Same name, Ruff Team Realty. Adi Koopa, remember, I'm a real estate broker. I am not a financial advisor. Remember, I'm not an accountant. So I could just tell you the things that I do. What can I deduct if I spend 150 in rentals in the first year of the purchase? Can I deduct the full 150? No, you cannot. You can only deduct a repair. You can't deduct an improvement. If you deduct an improvement, it has to go on that 40-year cycle again. That's why when we are going to be doing buildings, we always focus on repairs. We don't focus on improvements. Repairs are 100% write-off. Improvements, capital improvements, you got to put it on a separate sheet and deduct it over 40 years. 4% per year. So if you have 100% 1 year, you take off 4%, you're down to 96%, right? And then you take that 96%. What is 4% of the 96%? And then that will reduce it. So it's always 4% of the remainder. It's not 100 divide by 4, which is 25 years. It doesn't work that way. It's 4% of the remainder every single year. But please talk to your accountant, talk to your bookkeepers, talk to your trusted financial advisor about that. All right, you guys, thanks so much. I hope you have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for coming by. Thank you, YouTube. YouTube, do you have any questions before I head on out? Do you guys have any questions? I just canceled off the TikTok, but if you have any questions, you could put them. I haven't gotten any questions from YouTube tonight. It's been a very active TikTok crowd. But if you have any questions on cash flow, appreciation, depreciation, principal pay down, or loans, this is what we talk about, smart money mechanics, all the time. Do you want to ask me anything on that? If not, it's all good. Going once, going twice. Hope you have a good night. Thanks everyone for coming by. Appreciate it.